When we were first starting out, I told Raquel the one cardinal rule of this nasty business we call show. There are three T's in entertainment: talent, teeth, and tits. Now, Raquel's only 6, so she's only fully developed in the talent department. Stephanie is an abusive mother, bound and determined to climb the showbiz ladder on the back of her 6-year-old daughter, Raquel. It seems Stephanie is willing to sacrifice everything for stardom, even if it means pushing her daughter into the hands of a pedophile. Age of Consent by Peter Morris. I don't want to overstate my case here, nor do I want to whine, but it must be said. It's not easy being a single mother, especially at my age. I was 19 when I had her. I have no family to speak of to lend a hand in raising her. As far as being a single mommy, the gentleman in question seems to think of his role largely in terms of anonymous sperm donation. The silence from that man is deafening, and to be fair, I'm not sure where he is now. But what it comes down to is money, right? With some discipline, I could put Raquel's natural outgoingness and maturity to good use. So I made the decision. I quit my job to focus on Raquel's career. Although, as her agent and manager, it must be said, I'll always be working harder than she does. But you have no idea how energized I am. I am completely happy spending my days teaching Raquel to sing and dance. I finally feel like a real mother. Raquel, with minimum coaching from me, she's a natural, got casted as the littlest sibling in Peter Pan. I have taught her to steal a scene so gracefully you don't even see her doing it. A chill went over me as I stood in the wings. Raquel waited to enter. I didn't even smile as I leaned down to whisper into her ear, TNT, Raquel. She grins and just looks up at me and says, teeth and tits, Mom, teeth and tits. So she grins and thrusts and enters, and all eyes are on her. Princess Raquel and I are currently not speaking. She'll come around. Anticipating their misbehavior is part of the training. When it occurs, you just starve them into submission. I don't know what Princess R had to eat, but there's no food in the house. I don't feel guilty. Give that girl an inch and she takes a mile. You could say she's spoiled, but if she is, it's only because it's part of the plan. I take Raquel to these places that are too la-di-da for us, but what I'm hoping to do is force her to acquire to the taste. So then she has to work harder for the rest of her life to satisfy that craving. She'll be a much more eager performer if she has to sing for her supper, essentially. But she's been so gloomy lately. I don't understand it. I wonder if it's overwork. I'd suspect it was overwork, only I maintain a far more punishing schedule than she does. I'm the one responsible for every appointment, every meet and greet, every audition that she ruins for us. Raquel and I get to these standoffs and it just feeds on itself and gets worse and worse because I will take her in for our first audition of the day and she'll already be in a bad mood. And then she just screws up the audition and that makes me livid. So we just end up like now. So it's no surprise we're at speaking. Today was unforgivable, really. They're changing casts, right? And Les Mis. And you can't imagine how hard I fought for the audition. You know the show. I said to Raquel before she went on, I said, I want you to make them weep. I don't want there to be a dry seat when you're through. So I gave her a Chinese burn and I pushed her on stage and she was spellbinding. The hair on the back of my neck standing up, and I realized Raquel does honestly have what it takes. Until the last verse, where she actually started crying, and it was a nice effect, but then she stopped singing and just started saying, Mommy, Mommy. And then the magic just evaporated. It's clear she's not really a pro. She's only 6, but if she can't do it now, when is she going to do it? That's what enrages me. I pulled her aside and said, Raquel, I can't have you calling me mommy in front of all these professionals. Stop letting me down, and maybe I'll want to be your mommy, you spiteful little bitch. And she says, fine, I don't want to call you mommy anymore. So I slapped her across the face and she fell over. She didn't even cry. I mean, I am proving she has nerve of steel because she didn't even bat an eyelid. 6 years old. Can you believe it? And the only thing that runs through my head is she doesn't even have hormones in her yet. I might need to put her down for the public good in a few years. And her latest technique for domestic terrorism? Wetting the bed. This is the 3rd time this week, so I'm simply refusing to change the sheets. As far as I'm concerned, little girls have made their bed to lie in. For the first time, I'm thinking it might be possible that dreams might actually come true. Raquel and I have learned that there is a God, and his name is Desmond Varadi. We were sitting there when a very distinguished looking man strolled up and just started looking at Raquel. And she didn't even look her best now. That's star quality. And then he said to me, Madam, you have a beautiful daughter. And then he reached into the pocket of his suit and extracted a business card. Desmond Varadi, director, film and television. I thought, this is the answer to our prayers. He's a director. Before I even know, he's casted Raquel as the featured role in a commercial. And Mr. Varadi was so attentive to Raquel and the money. Let's just say the contract was very, very generous. And he'd very much like to work with Raquel again, make her part of his stable, he put it. When we first go into the studio, I had to fill out all these forms giving my permission for Raquel to be filmed. Finally, I get to a sheet that says consent, as in parental consent. Imagine raising your child so well that she responds to your demands before you even make them. Imagine being so successful as a parent that you find your little ones start becoming slowly, silently what you want. I had been so angry with Raquel, the number of things she did for sheer spite, like talking back and the pissing. But now she's like a dream of perfect obedience. When we did our next commercial with Desmond, she didn't even say a word apart from her lines. It's like she finally understood what I wanted from her. And Desmond, well, he's perfectly enchanted with his little leading lady. He said to me, you realize that I intend to continue using your daughter indefinitely, provided that she and I maintain the proper working relationship she and I now enjoy. So I sat her down and I said, I know you get it in your head to be Little Miss Contrary, but don't you dare. Desmond can make us rich. So you do whatever he asks. He tells you to jump. You say, how high? Raquel didn't say anything, but I knew she understood. Raquel was now filming in Tuscany. They even flew me out. Raquel flew business class with Desmond. I sat in economy, but it's all right. I said to Desmond in the evening as we stood on the terrace, Raquel taking a bit too long in the bathtub for my liking. Think she's a star now. I said to Desmond, this is a country for romance. A passionate man like you, I know you feel it. He said, passion is the air I breathe. Raquel turned up and was staring at us in that way she has these days, kind of accusatory, popping her eyes at you. This morning, they decided not to film for some reason. Desmond comes up carrying a small hamper and says, where's Raquel? She was hiding, so we fetched her out, and Desmond said, little lady, I've come to invite you for a picnic. Raquel seemed a bit reluctant, and off they went. I watched them walk down to his car with her little hand reaching up to clutch his pinky finger. And I just thought, he's done so much. I know I'll never forget this man, and Raquel won't forget it either. As for now, you have no idea how nice it is to be alone.